Hello, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Johnny Rodriguez. I'm with the Illinois Department of Revenue. I am the Human Resource Specialist for the recruiting team here in the Chicagoland area. On the call, we also have Ms. Julie Love and Mr. Bobby Tucker. They're from the HR team down in the Springfield office. I will give a few more minutes so people can log in. I will begin exactly at 1:02 if that's okay with everybody. Also, please utilize the chat box. If you do have any questions, we will be answering these questions at the end of the presentation. Well, good afternoon, everybody. As I said, my name is Johnny Rodriguez. I am from the Human Resource Department here with the Illinois Department of Revenue. I will begin my session today. So today we'll be talking about public service resumes and the interview process for state employment, specifically here with the Illinois Department of Revenue. So our agenda today, we will be talking about state of Illinois employment hiring process, the importance of the resume, building of a resume, and the interview process. So the hiring process. Myself, I'm part of the recruiting team. So we search for qualified candidates. We assist candidates on steps to apply for state employment. Then it goes to the next process, which is the application review. The reviews of all the resumes of everybody who has uploaded the resumes through the work.illinois.gov website, and they have answered all those questions through the application process. Those job seekers are ranked based on their experience and qualifications. So we also make sure that all contractual rights are being met. And then we have subject matter experts who verify these qualifying candidates meet all those minimum qualifications and preferred qualifications. And they will receive a score based on what they have on their resume and what they have answered on their application. After that, the selection team will interview the top 12 candidates. With those top 12 candidates, they will select the most qualified candidate for review with the HR and management team. And then we will make an offer to the highest scoring candidate. Is that correct, Mrs. Julie? Good to go?
Yes, it changes daily. There were a few tweaks made this morning, but for the most part, yes, you are on target.
Okay. Sorry, let's go back here. All right. So what is the importance of resumes for state employment? Candidates receive a score and a rank based on the information provided on the resume. The more detailed information about the work experience, your education, the higher score you will receive. Unfortunately, HR is not able to contact you if there's any missing information. So we tell people to create a full picture for the HR team to know your work experience and all your education. The great thing about uploading your resume onto the SuccessFactors platform is that resumes auto loads and most of the required information onto the application. But please make sure to go over that application because sometimes some of the things might not come over. So that's where you're able to add it. It's a great time saver. And like I said, review for accuracy. Sometimes it doesn't go over, but most of the time it does. So just make sure you review your application prior to submitting it. So public service resume, it's a little bit different from your private sector resume. One of the main things is there's no limit on the number of pages submitted. For us, more is better. Main reason is because you're able to provide us more detailed information of your experiences, your qualifications, and so on. Right after the person reading your resume has no prior knowledge of the jobs you've performed, if you have knowledge or experience but do not disclose on your resume, that experience will not be added to your initial application grade. So if you didn't have it on your resume, you don't have the experience, you'll probably score a little bit lower than somebody else who actually put it on their resume or on the application. So what I tell people when they are looking through each job posting, please print and save your job posting. That way you know what is the job posting number, the job order number. Carefully read each job posting and study for keywords that they're looking for. Most job postings are going to have a minimum qualification. Make sure you meet those minimum qualifications and you state those on your resume and on your application. Central Management Services are going to be reviewing these applications to make sure you meet those minimum qualifications. Pay attention to the section that labels requirements or qualifications. Sometimes you'll say preferred qualifications, preferred preferred qualifications, preferred requirements. With those, they're going to be targeted for those from our HR team to review and look at them a little closely and provide you a score based on the information you provide to us. So here we go. We're going to be building a resume. Things that you will need in a resume, especially on a public service resume, your contact information, a summary, a skills section, your employment history, if you were in the military, education, certification, achievements, and volunteer work. So I always tell people to make sure they have to provide us the correct contact information. A lot of the times they upload an old resume and have old phone numbers, an email they no longer use. So make sure your email address, your phone number is updated because we're going to be utilizing both the ones that is on your application because the application is going to ask what's your phone number. But let's say if the phone number that you gave us in the application is different than from your resume, we're first going to contact you based on the one on your application. But in case we're not able to contact you with that, we'll try to go through the one on your resume. Is that correct, Mr. Brent? Or mostly it's just strictly on the application?
Yeah, your email address on your application is how we will contact you. If you are selected for an interview, it'll go straight to whatever you have on your application.
Okay. So I emphasize, depending on each department, they might have some that utilize the professional summary, but they're looking for each candidate. Some positions do not require the professional summary. I encourage everybody to write a professional summary. It's just 2 to 4 sentences that read aloud like an elevator pitch. This is your ability to let people know, what's your past experience, how many years you've had in that industry, and if you have specific traits and skills that are able to be met for that position, try to make yourself a little bit more marketable for that position. Indicate your level of knowledge and the number of years of experience, and then target preferred positions that you're looking. So if you're looking for a management position, emphasize your management and leadership skills. If you're looking for human resource position, obviously human resource experience, whether it's in benefits, whether it's in recruiting. If it's in healthcare, something in healthcare, whether you're more of a critical care nurse, whether you're a long care nurse, just depending on the position you're applying to. So as I said, on your resume, you would like to make sure you have all of those skills that you have. There's 3 different types of skills that most people are putting on their resumes. These are some. The hard skills are technical, knowledge of training that you have gained throughout any life experience, including your career or education. Your soft skills are personal habits and traits that shape how you work on a daily basis or your own with others. Soft skills are transferable. They equipping you to succeed in any workplace. Special skills are traits and abilities that make you particularly qualified for a position. So I'm going to give you a little overview of hard skills that you might utilize on your resume. If you're bilingual or multilingual, you like to put those as your hard skills. If you have a database management that you currently use, any Adobe software suites, any marketing platforms that you utilize, statistical analysis, data mining, mobile development. If you're in IT, some programming languages that you have knowledge or you're proficient in, such as Perl, Python, Java, or Ruby. These are hard skills that you would like to emphasize on your resume. Some soft skills, these are more of your integrity, dependability, effective communication, open-mindedness, teamwork, creativity, problem solving, predictive adaptability. With these soft skills, not so much on a separate section. Try to emphasize these on each of those employment experience or qualifications, on how you work together with a team, how you created a new work schedule, or you created a new project or a new way of doing things. This is a great way to emphasize those on your job's duties. The third one is special skills. So if you streamline inefficient processes, you save money or time for the organization, you improve morale, making customers happy, identify safety hazards, analyze scripted data, increase sales, decrease errors, you stay under budget, meeting deadlines. Emphasize on these, especially on your job duties and descriptions of your employment qualifications. So we go into the employment history. Bold your position with the company. Make sure you give the number of years of experience. As you see, when you go through a job posting for state of Illinois, they say minimum of 2 years or minimum of 5 years. Make sure you meet that minimum qualification for that posting. Give exact month and year. Try to utilize bullet points, listing primary responsibilities, emphasize on your accomplishments, be current and relevant to your job experience. Bullet points are a little bit easier to read, especially when you have so many applicants for one position. And it's a little more streamlined when we're looking through each applicant that way. So I emphasize the bullet points if need be. So let's say you do have no experience. It's not a problem. Include any activities such as babysitting or mowing lawns, extracurricular activities, internships or apprenticeships, any volunteer work. Emphasizing your soft and hard skills. These are transferable to any position, although you might not have done them on your regular job basis. But if you did them on, unpaid jobs, try to emphasize on those and, get credit for those.
Hey, Johnny, we want to point out here, particularly with a couple of our trainee titles at Revenue, that no experience is necessary on those job titles. So it doesn't matter. We train you classroom and on the job experience. So those are great opportunities, kind of get your foot in the door positions. So that's a key for those titles.
So what I tell people, best way to translate your job positions when applying. So let's say you're cutting neighbors' lawns or you're taking care of your mom. Usually people, when they put, what I've seen that people on their resumes would be like, talk to my neighbor for feedback on my services, started with one neighbor and now have more neighbors, posted pictures and satisfied customers on my Facebook, taking care of mom, taking care of your children, help bedbound mother with daily chores, cook, gave them medications for my mother, recorded mother's activity and medication intake for doctor's note. So as you can see, this really is not giving you a lot of points of what you're actually doing on your daily basis. So it's just the way you explain it and how you emphasize it. So you could change the name to lawn services, use customer service skills to build relationships and earn referrals, grew client base from 2 homes to 10 homes in 6 months, earn and maintain 5-star review, average lawn service on Facebook page, home health aid. So you change that name instead of just helping mom or home health care to home health aid or something that it's more customer service based. Provide daily long-term care for bedbound clients, assist the client by maintaining food, perishables, and medication while using first and first standards, maintain daily log and medication activities. So being able to translate those skills that you have done on a daily basis into a little bit more marketable ways. So a recruiter or anybody looking at your resume is able to say, oh, okay, I can see that they have ability to increase the number of people that they're bringing in for business, being able to understand, how to log things through either case management, especially on a daily log medication activities and such for. So, although you might have taken some time off, we have sometimes when there's mothers or there's children where they take care of their parents and they have a gap of employment. I try to emphasize to, instead of just having a gap of time of no experience, let them know what you were doing and try to market yourself a little better by, giving different activities that you did through that process. I know during the process when my spouse was taking care of the children, she was off from work for about 6 months. And when helping her utilize her or update her resume, I provided ways to increase her marketability by saying, well, what did you do? Not only did you watch the kid, but you also make sure we budget and you make sure we were able to keep enough clothes and stuff like that. So it's just the way you market yourself and you're able to explain it to the employer. So those who are in the military, I suggest to list military positions and responsibilities, not so much your rank. List all military honors, list any additional training or technical skills, list the branch of service, use plain language, not military jargon or abbreviations, especially when you're transitioning into non-military. A lot of times we have some military jargon we utilize that people don't understand. So plain, simple language, try not to use so much of the military jargon instead of abbreviations and, spell it all out. So let's say my position is HR, I would say human resource. In the military, I was a combat engineer. That's the position was set, but when I came out to the civilian world, it was a carpentry masonry specialist. So just, try to transition it into more civilian titles and be able to explain those positions directly to those that are reading your resume. When listing military experience, avoid providing more information than necessary, disclosing battlefield experience, using abbreviations, including disability rating, listing discharge type if not honorable. Although for the state of Illinois, we do provide some points for those who were in the military, that is added to your score. That information will just be stated on your resume as were you in the service, U.S. Army, your branch or position was, and the years you were in. Anything else we don't need at this time. Is that correct, Ms. Love? As far as for military information to receive those additional points?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, no problem. Certifications. Some employers, they need specific required certifications. Let's say you're a project manager and they need a PMP, project management certification, have those on there. It demonstrates your industry experience. You demonstrated any additional skills that you might have. If you have limited practical experience, certifications is a way to kind of show like, well, I might not have the experience, but I have the certification and I was able to do some practicum, in person or through a externship or internship. List the certification title, include the name and the host organization, include expiration dates, and make sure it's relevant to the skills needed for that position that you're applying to. Now we're going to go into the education. So those who have an education through either high school, college, or they go into university, name and location of the school, the degree obtained, the field of study, the graduation year, relevant honors or academic recognition, coursework. If you're currently in progress, the year of intended graduation, height of education completed, and number of credit hours completed. Due to some positions stating that you do need a bachelor's degree, make sure you post that on your resume. If it says you need 4 years of college credits, make sure you have that on your resume where it states the number of dates from the date start to the date you ended. Additional to that, if you do have, let's say you only took some college, the highest degree you earned was high school, so make sure you write your high school completion plus additional to some of the college dates that you did attend. Is there anything specifically that they should write for education, Mr. Brown?
I think you've covered it all, Johnny.
Okay, no problem. If you do have any volunteer experience, I would include examples of volunteer working you've done professionally, through school, personal settings. Connect your volunteer experience with your skills, meaning your soft skills, your hard skills. If you actually were able to do some of your specialized skills through your volunteer work, emphasize on those. Although you might not have been paid for those, you still have earned um, the experience of learning these different tasks while working as a volunteer. Separate sections for unrelated volunteer experience. So, what I tell people, market things that are closely related to the position you're trying to apply to. But if you have other volunteer experience you have that, might not apply, still write them on there. It gives us the opportunity to look at you as, oh, okay, this person likes to go outside, not only within their work, but trying to go into other opportunities that are out there. I work with a homeless veteran integration program. I work with homeless veterans. Um, when I utilized it on my federal resume, I utilized a certificate I received from the American Legion. So it's just those ways that you're able to, you know, make yourself a little different from other candidates. Just be able to provide those. On a regular resume, you don't write these. On a public service resume, specifically, like let's say we want to go into the federal government, sometimes in the state government, they look at these things to give you some, not so much additional points to your score, but just an additional way of marking yourself as different from the other person. Other things that you would like to put on your resume are your achievements. It calls attention to achievements obtained at work, academic awards, honor dean lists, scholarships, athletic awards, job-related awards, any leadership position, promotion, volunteer-related awards. Utilize these achievements to market yourself. Let's say if you are just graduated from high school or just graduated from college and you don't have any professional experience, but you worked at a job, try to utilize these other achievements to, be seen as other things that you are able to obtain and be able to show off, how great of a person you are. So, although you might not have work experience, but you do have experience in education where you receive academic awards. So that means you were very committed to your schooling and you took time to receive the highest grades or be at the highest dean's list. So for those that are not able to market so much their work experience, let's market your education. This is specifically for those who either have just graduated high school or had just graduated college and have no work experience. So, it shows your motivation. It shows your ability to retain information. It shows your ability to, work at something and keep at it for a long period of time. Also, those athletic awards are important to emphasize, especially like I said, for those that don't have work experience, because it's just that commitment of being able to do something and go through it throughout the whole process and, achieving, at the highest mark. So these are some resume writing tips that I tell people to write down. Look for keywords in job posting. One, review your resume with friends and family. So usually, sometimes family might not be so much biased. Some friends might be, so that's a good thing because they're going to tell you, well, I don't understand what this means, or I don't understand what this process is. Can you please emphasize a little bit or elaborate a little bit more about this? So please utilize your friends and families to review your resume. Gather all your work experience information prior to starting to write your resume. A lot of times we forget, oh yeah, I did this job. So, usually doing a resume, it's a job by itself. So it might take you 1 hour, 2 hours, depending on how much experience you have. So make sure you gather all your work experience to provide all that information on your resume. Use a professional font, use active language, call attention to important achievements, and also proofread and edit. Because this is a document that you're providing to a recruiter or somebody potentially hiring you, it gives them the ability to read your grammatical skills and your grammar way how you're express yourself. So if you do have any of those grammatical errors, it could potentially be a something against you. So please proofread and edit. So the next part, I'm gonna see if Mr. Brent could provide me with this part of the presentation.
Okay, preparing for your interview. The first bullet point here is making sure you have a good spot where the internet works. There are many times when we're in the middle of an interview and it freezes or your network isn't working properly. Just make sure to test before the interview begins and make sure you have good Wi-Fi where you're at. Sometimes when you're at McDonald's in a parking lot with your phone, internet can go out, so just make sure you plan for that hour to be in a spot where you're going to have good Wi-Fi. Downloading the WebEx application and practice it. That's why I just described using your volume and camera. So we want you on camera during the interviews. So set up a WebEx with yourself and just make sure your camera equipment works. There are times where we'll start an interview, and if your camera doesn't work, we have to reschedule your interview. So just make sure your camera works. Have a clear desk or space. When you interview for the Department of Revenue, you cannot have any notes, your resume, application, CMS 100, nothing can be in front of you to keep it fair for everybody. That's why your camera is on and my camera's on, just to verify. We want to get to know you. We don't want you to be looking up information during the interview. Feeling comfortable being in front of the camera. An interview process is nerve-wracking. There's no way around that. But like I said, if you just prepare and practice before the interview, being on camera, it'll really help maybe ease some of the awkwardness when you're on during the interview. Before the interview, we make sure to tell you to keep your cell phone and everything off, no distractions. I suggest leaving a cell phone in a different room than where you're interviewing at if you're at home. I did have a candidate one time get up and go answer their door because the doorbell rang and the dogs are barking. So just make sure it's a clear time for you to do your interview, or have someone else in the house that could answer the door for you. Appear confident, interested, and friendly. Just try your best during the interview process. I know it's uncomfortable. We all understand that. And prepare and practice with friends. That's the best thing you can do. Pull up interview questions you can find on the internet and just practice. That will definitely help set you apart with all the other candidates you're interviewing against. I think that's all I got from this slide, Johnny.
So we understand interviewers do not have your, make sure you understand that interviewers do not have your resume or any information about your skills or qualifications. All scores are given based on interviewer answers. Utilize the time provided. Candidates are given a time limit at the beginning of the interview. The interview panel will be scoring you individually. So be very specific with details when providing scenarios. Make sure to ask questions after all interviews have ended if time is still available.
And I'm glad you brought that up, Johnny. The interviewers do not have your resume in front of them during the interview time. So in answering, I don't know if that's coming up in an upcoming slide, but while answering the questions, make sure you read every sentence and hit every point you can think of. That's what you're getting scored on. Nothing, if you don't say it, we can't score it. So don't rely on us already reading your resume and knowing what it is you did. You really need to explain.
So interviewing with the state of Illinois, it can be situational, especially on those questions. Some of the questions have, most questions have multiple parts. So answer all parts of the questions. Emphasizing your soft skills and hard skills when answering these questions. Candidates cannot use or any reference materials when interviewing. So put everything away and have a clean desk. As far as the multiple part questions, you will want to make sure you answer all of those questions. because you are receiving a score based on your answers. So if you only answer 3 parts of a 5-part question, you're only going to receive credit for those 3 questions you've answered. So,
And my best tip is whenever you're answering the questions, give your story, give the answer after the question, just put together your story and the answer you want to give, and then take a deep breath. And before we move on, just read every sentence. And maybe that will jog a few more examples for you before you tell us it's okay to proceed or move on. Just take your time, clear your head, and reread every sentence.
I got that. So while answering questions, look directly to the camera. Like I said, notepads are not allowed. Utilize the chat box to annotate answering each question if need be. Know that a moment of silence after response is due to panel having to type your response. Make sure you test your voice pitch prior to interviewing so we are able to hear you. As far as the interview process, 12 people get an interview. Everybody gets scored based on the same questions, so everybody's going to receive the same questions, so there is no bias. So moving forward,
Johnny, I don't think we have volume again.
so I apologize.
We can get the link for the video and put it in the chat. It's also posted on our webpage at tax.illinois.gov. So apologize that we have a technical difficulty with the video. It's a great little video. It's just we have a issue with the sound on it. So
Yeah, so I'm going to move forward. We do have this video on our page, so you're welcome to go on there. So I'm going to move forward to the next slide. So we did have some questions on the chat box. Do the questions appear on the screen? When you are interviewing, they will copy and paste those questions onto the chat box. Brent, is that correct?
Yeah, I answered that. We're going to ask you the question and paste it to the chat of the WebEx. That way you can review and follow along so you don't have to remember all the parts of the question.
While doing an interview, the panel, you only going to see one person, and then the other 2 people will be muted. So it is going to be a panel, but you're only going to see one person. Sure, I will go back to the slide for the hard skills. Does anybody have any additional questions that I could answer? Please utilize the chat box. So on your resume of the application or your job title change, but nothing else, do you need to identify the date of change?
Yeah, I think you would, because you want to show the progression. Even though it's just a job. Are you saying it's just a job title? The organization changed the job title, but everything stays the same, I guess?
Correct.
Okay, no. Yeah, I wouldn't worry about that. I just change his job title on your resume.
Okay.
keep the dates like there's no interruption.
Now, specifically for those that are veterans, is there any additional things that they need to post on their resume at this time, other than just their branch date and time? Or we had another question: if unemployed but doing unpaid internship towards degree, how will you be listed on your resume? Oh, Brent's just listed as an internship. So just a separate section that says internship. So perhaps if your internship was in accounting, so write internship as a section, and then the position you actually did was accounting, and then all the job duties you did for that internship.
Yeah, that'd be great.
There you go. Ms. Julie, are we able to share this PowerPoint presentation to the job seekers?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
Absolutely. And a couple of plugs. I would highly encourage everyone to sign up for what we call Job Alert. So the key for getting a job with the state of Illinois is you have to apply when there's a live position. So if you go out there and you look at the job board and you see something that looks kind of interesting, but you think, oh, I'll come back to it later, and then you go back and the deadline's already passed. And some postings will have a date and a time on it for the deadline. So it's Wednesday, December the 7th at 5 p.m. Some state agencies allow the jobs to be open until midnight. So you want to make sure on every job posting, it'll say the deadline. You want to look for the date and the time. And some people don't have time to go out every day and look at the job board. So the best thing to do is sign up for job alerts. We will, if you either give us a phone number and we'll text you information, or an email address, and we'll send you an email when we post new openings. The other thing is to look at all the different types of job openings that we have, because at Revenue, we have everything from entry-level office clerical jobs that usually require a high school degree or equivalent, all the way up to the chief economist. And the range is from one extreme to another. So we have so many different types of jobs out there, and you have to meet the minimum qualifications in order to apply for the position. And as Johnny mentioned, there's no more CMS 100. Everything is live online. But when you're going through and answering those questions, you want to be as detailed as possible. But when you look at the jobs that are posted out on our website, you kind of get an idea of the types of positions that we have, the experience that you need, the education that's required. It gives you a good idea of the variety of jobs we have. The other plug is the career advancement at Revenue. It's a great agency to get your foot in the door in a position and either continue your schooling or build your skills, those hard skills, soft skills that Johnny mentioned, and then work into a higher level position. The majority of our supervisors at Revenue started in trainee titles and have worked their way up. So we are a state agency that believes heavily in career advancement. We are doing these calls on a monthly basis. So I would encourage you to either follow us on the socials, Facebook and LinkedIn for sure, because we advertise these events out there as well. January, we don't have a date yet, but we're going to do a call on why does it take so long to get hired by the state, so that you can kind of see the progression of the application process, and it kind of helps you understand sometimes why it might take a little while to get a call back. So any other questions while I was visiting? The name on the LinkedIn is just the Illinois Department of Revenue. And if you follow us on there, we post all of our positions on LinkedIn, so you would get notified when we post those.
For those that sign up via email today for this presentation, I will be emailing everybody who attended this event with our future upcoming events. So our event in January, I will forward you our link for that and to be able to register. So yeah, thank you.
And since this is based on resumes, there's application questions for all the positions you're going to apply for. It's going to ask if you had 1 year, 3 years experience, XYZ. And there's always a follow-up question on there that says, please tell us where you gained the experience. If you could tell us specifically where to find that on your resume, or just tell us where you gained the experience. A lot of people fall in a trap of just say, see resume. And if we can't find it real quick, you'll lose those points. So make sure to specifically tell us where to look on your resume if that's what you're going to put as your follow-up answer.
Yeah, so make sure you review your application on SuccessFactors when you log into the work.illinois.gov website. So when you're submitting your application, those questions are very important because that's going to look if you have the minimum qualifications. If you don't answer those questions correctly, you will receive an email letting you know you did not move forward. Usually CMS would send you an email letting you know you're not selected for this position because you don't meet the minimum requirements. So if you don't answer those questions thoroughly or with all the information needed, you will not be able to move forward to even be reviewed for your resume. So those questions are very important when going through state employment. So at this time, we don't have any additional questions. I will stop recording at this time.